Ghostbusters Afterlife has been a huge success. Columbia Pictures are already in negotiations to bring back the sequel. Welcome to Sidetrack, your sci-fi TV and movie channel. Ghostbusters Afterlife took $44 million in its opening weekend. Now, post-COVID, that's an amazing figure. It really makes up for the Ghostbusters with boobs. And it's just phenomenal. Jason Reitman did an amazing job, a genuinely amazing job. I giggled like a child at least 5 different places while watching this film. And it genuinely gave me goosebumps. There will be no spoilers in this video except for one little one which I'm going to talk about a little bit later, but I'll warn you when it's coming just in case you haven't seen it already. If you haven't seen it, I would just say, why the hell not? It is genuinely a worthy successor to the original Ghostbusters, and it is phenomenal. Now, I have a couple of sources already from having this channel. Somebody I know is reasonably close to Columbia has told me that negotiations for the sequel have already begun. Columbia Pictures are ecstatic with the response this film's been getting. The critics' response has been a little bit mixed, but the audience response has been phenomenal because it's a phenomenal movie. The Rotten Tomatoes rating is through the roof, IMDb the same. Now, what would the sequel be about? And has Jason Reitman already been talking about it? Well, yes, he has. He has already said Ghostbusters 2 with Vigo is canon. Now, there are actual little Easter eggs and things from the Ghostbusters 2 movie in this film. The biggest problem, though, is that Egon's daughter should have actually been born already when Ghostbusters 2 came out, and obviously she's nowhere in the film, so that's a little bit of a problem on canon, but, you know, we just ignore that. There are things, though, like Ray's occult shop, where we see him halfway through the movie. Oh, sorry, that's a little bit of a spoiler, sorry, but he is in the advert, so it's not really. That is obviously from Ghostbusters 2, that's where he is at the start of Ghostbusters 2. There are a couple of other little bits as well throughout the film. Jason Reitman's already been talking about that. So he wants Vigo maybe to make a return, or at very least he has said Ghostbusters Afterlife 2 will have elements linking it to the second Ghostbusters film. But I actually think they've already teased us a few little other bits of information. There is one scene towards the end of the movie, this is a bit of a spoiler, so I'm sorry, that does stand out a little bit. Winston Zeddemore, who apparently in the film has actually, since leaving Ghostbusters, has done very well for himself and made himself quite a lot of money, taps Ecto-1 on the bonnet and sort of says, "You're coming home with me. I'm gonna take you home and look after you," sort of thing. I think that is quite a big hint. That scene, sorry, does stand out a little bit in the movie. At the time, I was sort of like, oh, that's a bit weird. But I'm thinking that's basically going to be setting up for the sequel. I can actually see that Winston is going to perhaps take on the mantle of training the next generation of Ghostbusters. That for some reason they need his help, and that he actually fixes up Ecto-1. As I say, perhaps trains this new group of youngsters that are going to become the new Ghostbusters. I think that is the way we're going to go here. But will we see Ray, and will we see Peter Venkman return? I actually genuinely think Dan Aykroyd would want to return for this movie. I think he loves the Ghostbusters franchise, and it's the sort of thing he'd be well up for doing. He talked a lot about this film beforehand. He actually did make a little cameo in the terrible Ghostbusters that we don't want to talk about. Bill Murray, on the other hand, is a bit of an enigma wrapped in a mystery. There's actually a story that goes, even for the original Ghostbusters, they weren't sure he was going to turn up. He said he was going to do the role. He promised Dan Aykroyd that he was going to turn up, but they weren't really sure. He literally turned up on the first day of filming. They were just relieved. He has got a bit of a reputation for not always turning up. He was even resistant to doing this movie. But I think the way Jason Reitman did it convinced him that this was actually a part worth doing. And his cameo towards the end of the movie, again, I'm not going to say anyone, that is stunning. I think we're definitely going to see Winston, and I think he's going to have a big part in perhaps training or getting the new Ghostbusters ready. Maybe he funds them, maybe he does whatever else. I think we're going to see Ray come back because he's obviously integral to a part, and I think Dan Aykroyd would be more than willing. I don't think we'll see Bill Murray, but there's a little thing on that. Ghostbusters 2, if you remember, really centered around Sigourney Weaver. Now, Sigourney Weaver was very much absent from Ghostbusters Afterlife. Could we see a return for Dana Barrett? And more importantly, Oscar. Now, obviously, Oscar was a big part of the movie because that's who Vigo were trying to take over his body, and that was going to be used as a conduit for Vigo returning to Earth. Baby Oscar was a big part of Ghostbusters 2. It would only make sense to me that he would return for Afterlife 2. With his return, could Dana return? Now, if Dana returns and Oscar, that really would leave an easy opening for Peter Venkman to return. We don't really know what happened at the end of Ghostbusters 2, but it looked like that the relationship with Dana was going to blossom again, and that he was going to be maybe a stepdad to Oscar. We don't know, obviously, what happened in that relationship, but maybe it did continue, and that if Oscar was at risk again, that maybe Peter Venkman would step up. Now, that's a storyline that I could see working, and it's a storyline that I could actually see Bill Murray being interested in enough to do. And obviously, with Afterlife doing so well, they're going to be in the position to be able to throw a crap load of money at Bill Murray. Ghostbusters Afterlife, the sequel, seems to be not greenlit yet, but the negotiations are happening. Columbia are very, very happy. Jason Reitman already has an idea for a storyline, and I think the fact of this being greenlit is only weeks away. Thanks very much for watching. If you are new to the channel, please like, subscribe, hit that bell notification, blah, blah, blah. You can now join the channel and give me a small bit of money every week that, keeps my wife happy because, my stupid little hobby, if it makes money, she can't moan at me quite so much. But also, it really going to help me go to that next level because, I really want to grow this channel and I really want to, get new microphones and things. So if you could join the channel, that'd be amazing. Also, you will get the videos 24 hours before anybody else and a couple of other little perks. Thank you so much for watching, and I will see you next time.